Well, hello there and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're well and having a beautiful day. Well, in today's tutorial, I'm going to bring to you the final star for the quilt along. Okay, so remember, if you're new here and you're just starting, just so that you are clear, I'm going to repeat myself. So we're making 12 stars altogether, all right? And you need 8 fat quarters or whatever number of fat quarters or yardage that you want to use, entirely down to you. There's no right or wrong because you are cutting it up anyway. Nevertheless, what I would say is that for each star we have been making 2. So by the end of all of your star blocks you should have 12. Okay, so today is that day where we finish our 12th star block, all right, now, which has been 3 weeks ago since we started, so it was 2 per week on a Monday and a Wednesday. Now what I want to say before I move on, I know I'm late with this. It was totally out of my hands because I said we had some work being done in the house and it was a nightmare to record. So as the video progresses, you would hear a lot of music because there was so much noise, and I really had to just work and let the noise carry through, and then you may hear me actually talking, all right, or it might be a very short clip. Okay, so but nevertheless, the pattern will be in the description box down below. The link is there for those of you who get the pattern free. I will send it out, all right. And for those of you who are joining for the quilt along, please bear in mind that when you join the quilt along, please don't try and I don't want to sound mean by it, but it makes sense. Don't try and download other patterns, other previous patterns, all right? If you are joining for the quilt along, that is what I expect you to be downloading. Otherwise the system is not going to allow you to do that, okay? Because you are joining, it's only if you join on Quilter 2, then that omits you from it. But joining on Quilter 1, where it's probably, I think, $5.99 Australian dollars, and I think probably $4 US. So it's quite a small number. So the financial balance will not, if it makes sense, it will not allow you to download just patterns and patterns and patterns, because for what you are paying, it's a special deal that you're getting. Okay, so just bear that in mind, please. I don't want to have to explain that because I think it's kind of makes sense, you know, in a way that you're joining for the quilt along. If you still stay after the quilt along, then, you know, I think 3 months is what it gives you then it's open up to you. But if you want to just download any pattern, by all means join on Quilter 2. Okay, that's what YouTube advised me. So just so that you know, because a few people have tried to download the other patterns, it will not allow you to do it, all right? And then also, if you join on another name that is not your name, because some people have their proper names when they join the channel, and then their names for their YouTube channel is different. It takes a while, and if it doesn't go through, then some of you email me, then I have to go look, all right? So either you join with your sewing name or your YouTube name, you know, then it's easier, then it recognizes it, and then you can link it together. Otherwise just email me and I will ask you the details, then I will go and open it up for you. Just bear that in mind, all right? But that's it for now. So next week will be the easy to piece block, and we will be making 13 of those, and I will demonstrate you. And then after that, the next tutorial with the quilt along will be you know, sort of laying the blocks out, working which way around we want them, and making the quilt top. Okay, so I think that's it for now. Do like and subscribe for more. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Karen. I'm sorry I'm rushing because I don't want the hammering to start. So I'm rushing. All right, and I will see you in the next one. Bye. All right, so we're going to get started on the shooting star. So we have all the components here already. I have marked my squares to make some half square triangles. All the details will be in the pattern. I have some strips and I have some rectangles and some more strips here. We will be doing some foundation paper piecing for this particular block, and I will demonstrate that to you. And let's get started on making the shooting star. Chain piece all of your half square triangles. You can again sew on either side, a 1/4 inch on either side of the drawn line. So I'm going to sit and do all of those together, and then we're going to move on to making the star immediately. Alright, so I'm not going to demonstrate how to make these half square triangles, but I have already drawn on either side of the lines. Once you've cut them open, do be reminded that you will need to trim these up to the correct size. Alright, so next we're gonna make the star. Now just follow the pattern and make the star. What I have done is various colors of legs here. So all I'm going to do, as you would as normal, is to just sew these 3 pieces together, and then these 3 together, these 3 and these 2 here together, and then we will come together and put it. What is all this together? Alright, so all you need to do literally is to build your star here. What I have done is to use different legs to make my star, and I'm referring to different cuts of fabric. You can mix it up if you want, or you can use one to make the star legs. Alright, we're going to be moving on to do a foundation paper piecing block, and I'm going to demonstrate how to get that on paper, and I'll give you the details for it within the pattern. Also, we need some background squares or some different colors. Squares is entirely down to you what you want to use. So I'm going to get all of those ready. What I'm going to demonstrate now is a foundation paper piecing. Once I've done that, then I'll come back and I'll show you how the whole block looks. Alright guys, so we're going to make the foundation paper piece in here. I have a scrap piece of paper. It doesn't have to be anything special. So I'm just folding it back so that it doesn't do that anymore. I just took it out of my little printer. Alright, so once you've done that, I have drawn a square here on there. And I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to start drawing from point to point there, and I'm going to move from increments from that line to a particular size. All right, and so all I'm going to do is angle it. I'm going to use the center of my ruler there. I'm going to angle it on that center point so that I can find the amount of width that I actually need. This doesn't have to be precise. The objective here, you can add as much strips as you want. Okay, so don't make this something that you are going to be stressing over. All right, all I'm doing is drawing angles from that point. You could make it as wide or as thick as you like. It is not an issue here. And I'm going to continue the same there and the same there. All right, so this is what you're going to have. Okay, now what we're going to do is to start by taking pieces of strips and you're going to foundation paper piece. Simple as that. All right, and then we're going to trim it up. What I have done is have a selection of these strips that I am using from the fat quarters. All right, so whatever is left or whatever you want. I've added some background and I've added some strips from the fat quarters. I'm going to start with one of the fat quarter strips, and you're going to lay your first strip front side up, okay, on that line there, on your first line. Now I wouldn't advise you to start in the middle. I would advise you to start let me put this down because it's refusing to stay. I would advise you to start on the second strip from the square. All right, and I'm going to put front side up at an angle all the way down to the point down there. Okay, and the next one I am going to, let's cut a bit off. Just make sure whatever size you cut off your fat quarter, it is enough to cover the initial size of your strips you have on paper. All right, don't make it too small. And again, let me just say this, if it is small, it just means you have to add more. There is no right or wrong with this particular one here. Okay, so then all I'm going to do is put it front sides down, line them up together like so, and I'm going to do a 1/4 inch on that first line. Once I've done that, then I'm going to open it back out, make sure it sits at an angle. You will have to trim and you continue, but I'm going to do the first one so that you can see what I'm referring to. So I'm going to line up both fabrics together, front sides together. I'm going to make sure they go beyond the square that I've just drawn on, and simply so. Alright, so sewn them on now. Okay, now what I'm going to do, because the actual strip is wider than the bottom down here, what I am going to do is just twist it so that it lines up to the end of that angular movement in the corner, so it would look like so. I have done this, taken pictures so that it's well detailed in the pattern, but I thought I'll mention it on the camera just in case you get a little bit confused when you look at the pattern. All right, so that is what I mean by that. To just fold it over so that it lines up with the next line that you are ready to cover. Okay, so once I fold it over, I am going to finger press, and I am going to take a sharp scissors, and I am going to cut along that seam that that press line that I just created. Okay, and it's going to look a bit awkward, but don't worry about it. You will cover all of it. So that's what you're aiming at. So it should look like so. Now I'm going to take my next, and I'm going to cover like so, and I'm just going to continue yet again, and I'm going to sew all the way down. Do ensure that when you add your next strip that it goes up above and to the end, so that you have enough room. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to continue until I get to the end. All right, you can do as much strips as you want. You can make it skinny, you can make it wide. It's entirely down to you. There's no right or wrong. However much you want to give yourself is up to you. I just use certain spaces in between. The most important thing is that you cover the entire square and you go beyond the square. All right, so I'm going to continue, finish all of that, and I'll come back and show you the next stages before I do anything else. So I'm just going to take all of my little strips, and I'm going to go sit right next to I'm going to add a bit of white in there actually. I'm going to go sit right next to the computer, next to the machine, and do all of this. So I will be back in about 5 or 10 minutes. Alright, so this is what it's going to look like. Okay, so what we're going to do before we do any pressing is to trim it up. So I'm going to put it front sides down and just level it off with my hands so it's lovely and smooth. And I'm going to trim it up based on the size that I already marked out on the paper here, so I can just see the lines, and I'm just going to cut. Okay, and I'm just going to go all the way around, just ensuring everything is nice and flat. And cut. Same thing all the way around. Then I'm going to remove the paper, of course, because we don't need it now. Alright, so it's going to look nice and neat like so. Alright, so what I'm going to do is give this a little press so that it stays nice and tight. I hate saying the word nice and tidy. What on earth is wrong with me? So I'm going to just give it a little press. In the meantime, while the iron is warming up, I'm going to attempt to remove the paper. Whatever you do, don't go unpicking, because you will unpick the stitches. So just take your time and rip it back. And it should come away quite easily. I know in the past some people have decided to wet the fabric a little bit, but I don't really do that because I don't want to wet the fabric. So I just usually just tear it away. If you make your stitches nice and short, it will tear away even better. What I mean by that, if you shorten the stitch length and stitch width, so that stitches will be very tight. Okay, and that way it will come away quite easily. The iron is ready. I'm always so careful when I do this because I'm just so worried I'm going to rip the stitches out, and to be honest, I've never really have, but even if I did, I can, you can always go over it again and stitch it. But what I would advise is to try not to leave any paper in there. It does make a bit of a bother to quilt because it's a bit of a bulk, so don't leave any paper in there. Just take your time and get it off. And if you got grandkids, you can probably ask them to sit there Well, it depends on how much you're making. You know, ask them to tear it off for you. But this is just ordinary copy paper here that I'm using. Right, so all is off. And I'm going to give it a little press and I'll show you what it looks like. Try not to stretch it when you iron it. A beautiful little block. It'll make a very nice all over quilt. Alright, so let's show you how to lay this out now. So I've sewn some of the panels together. I'm using those terms because those are the terms I actually use. Let's move that out of the way. In the pattern so that you're aware. I'm going to take these all off. So first of all, I'm going to lay that down there. And I haven't stitched the square together, the star together just as yet. But I wanted to lay it out in front of you. So this is the star here. Probably I should not have moved it because I already had it the way I actually wanted it to fit. I didn't want to, that looks about right. No, this way. This one goes on this side. And this one goes on this side. And this one goes there. But I'm glad I figured that out. Alright, so to sew it all together now, this is what you need to do. Notice that the star is missing a spot there. There is no background fabric there. Alright, so that is the way it's supposed to be. I've sewn these two panels together. So this will sit like so. This way, like so. So I've used background in this corner here. And for the other one, it's going to sit like so. So you can see how it's coming together, how to sew it all together. And with this block, it fits in there. Alright, so that is what it looks like. So to sew this together now, what I would advise is you start with these two. Okay, and then you start with these two in the middle here. And then you add this. Once you've done those together, then you join them. And of course, these two sew together and you join these two and then bring the whole thing together. Alright, so that is the objective. So first, just make sure that you have your star legs facing the way you want them to be in the correct orientation. Okay, so remember you're looking for a V. Very important. If you don't see a V, then you're creating a square within the square. Alright, so these two together, these two, and then we mix them all up and sew them properly. So I'm going to put them on my mat so I don't get confused, because I do find that if I take it across to the sewing machine in that way, life is easier. Alright, so that is the layout you're looking for in order to sew it together.
Baby, you
just finished one of my shooting stars and I don't like it. Okay, let me say exactly what I mean. I am not happy with these here. I think it looks fine, don't get me wrong, it looks okay, but I don't see the objective of shooting the star. I think there's too much of this particular pattern here, and I think it's drowning the whole visual appeal. So I'm going to unpick these two, add the background color, which I think will help it a little bit better to stand out, as well as the star. So it's already sewn together. It is the size that it's supposed to be, which is 12.5, unfinished. But I'm going to unpick this. I'm not happy with it, and I want it to be. I want to be able to see the star shooting, and I don't feel that with the patterned print here with the holly leaves and the red bow. I think it's taken away from that. So I'm going to unpick these two and add a background and sew them in. Tell me what you think down below. Would you have gone through the hassle of actually doing it, or would you have left it? Or do you think I'm wrong, or do you think it looks fine as the way it is? I just don't think it's portraying enough. I'm very displeased that I used this particular color there, to be honest. But for the other one, I will change it around and see what it looks like. Alright, so removed the squares in the corners. So what I'm going to do is add the background fabric, and then I will show you both stars towards the end. Let me know which one you preferred down below in the description box. Alright, so I've added on the first background fabric. Now do remember, if something happens like this when you're making yours and you're not happy with what the outcome looks like, at this stage you can make changes. Even when you sew the quilt up together, you can still make changes. Alright, the changes cannot happen once it's quilted. So this is the time now to make changes. So what I'm going to do now is just fold it over and align it properly. Hold it down at the bottom there and just put an inch all the way down, and then I'll complete this corner here. Alright guys, so here is the completed block. So you need to make two, and I have my other one here. I'm just making sure they're the same size. The block measures 12.5. It does need a little bit of trim because I did trim the first one up. I haven't trimmed this one. So if you got any edges whereby it's not aligned properly, you just need to trim it off. This one seems fine. I can see a little bit sticking out here, so I'm going to correct that now. So as I don't forget, because I know me, I'll put it down, and when it's time to fit the blocks together, it will not be fitting nice and flat, and I wonder what on earth happened there. So let's correct it. So the block, as I said, measures 12.5. Okay, and that is your unfinished size. So your finished size is going to be 12. Okay, so if I put 12.5, it means that is what I expect you to make the block at this stage. Okay, so this is the first one. Tell me what you think about this one here. Very beautiful. So falling star, shooting star, absolutely gorgeous. That's the first one. So I've just varied the changes a little bit in the color. Okay, and this is the one we just made together. Same Christmas tones. I just simply, let me move this out of the way. I just simply added different colors. So I made a lighter center, whereas this one has a red center. But either way, let me hold it the right way up. Either way, they both look beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Really, really lovely. Loving it, loving it, loving it. Just make sure you don't turn your star legs around the wrong way. Okay? And you can see the rays, or the stars shooting. Shh. Did you hear my sound? Shh. you know, but let me know which one you think is the better block. I know I'm not sure which one I like the most. This one seems a little bit more prominent because of the red in the color in the center, and you can see the star legs with the white, whereas with this one it's you can still see it. You can still see it, the star legs, but I'm not sure if I achieved it. You let me know which one you prefer. But very beautiful, very easy to make. What I would say, make sure all 4 of your quadrants here are the same size. If they're not, you need to make sure you check your 1/4 inch seam to make sure that it fits nicely. All right, so that's it for now. So next week is going to be the easy piecing block, okay, which is the last block we're making. So we have 12 in total of the star blocks because we made 2. So this is your falling stars. We have the beacon of lights. I'm just going to put them to the side. So the beacon of lights here, and let me just make sure I have 2. Do I have 2? No, I have 1 of those. I haven't made the other one yet. And we have our Nordic star. I have 2 of those. I have my Scandinavian one here, 2 of those. So that's 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. 10. And this is the Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. So 12 all together. Beautiful, aren't they? Gosh, I cannot wait to put this all together because I haven't even laid them out. I've just made them, okay? I haven't finished this one. It's still to the side. All right, guys. So the next week, as I said, is going to be the easy peasy piecing block. And then that will be it. We'll then start laying it all out, and I will do the quilt top and everything else and show it to you. So bye for now. Happy quilting. Don't forget to let me know what you think about the falling star and which one you prefer. All right, bye for now, and I'll see you in the next one.